if you're interested in seeing what kind of awesome books you can find at the thrift store, I've got a haul from Salvation Army that I'd like to share with you. So just keep watching. Hi, my name's Danielle. If you are new here, I'm so glad you decided to stop by my channel. I hope you'll enjoy what you see. You'll want to stick around, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and turn it to all so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And for those of you who are coming back, thank you so much for being here. If you aren't already subscribed, will you please consider subscribing? And if you already are subscribed, thank you so much. All right, I am excited to share with you guys this haul. I'm going to be very transparent. This is my third time recording this. Yeah. So I discovered that my favorite thrift store for finding clothes at is also my favorite thrift store for finding books. I keep finding really good ones there. So I found this bag of stuff the other day when I went in and was looking at baby stuff for my new grandson, which I actually found brand new with tags, Baby Gap clothes that are the size that he'll need for spring and summer. I'm so excited. But you're here for the books, so let's get into them. So my channel is fairly new, but if you've been around here at all, you will know that suspense, thriller, mystery, those tend to be the kinds of genres that I lean towards. And I am trying to branch out, and I find that it's much easier to do that when I'm going to a thrift store and getting books where I'm spending much less for the books, because then if it ends up being something I pick up that I don't really love, I can easily pass it on to someone else, redonate it, take it to a little free library, whatever, and not feel bad like I spent a bunch of money on it and it was kind of a waste for me. So I definitely have been, I'm a thrifter anyway, I thrift everything, but I definitely love it for books because, like I said, you can just, it helps me be able to branch out more and just try new things. The first thing that I picked up is definitely in that realm. This is a literary fiction, which is something I never reached for. This is called Olive Kitteridge, and it's by Elizabeth Strout. This is winner of the Pulitzer Prize. And so that in itself kind of made me be like, okay, this must be a pretty good book. So this is probably a good one to lean toward if I'm going to try something in this type of genre. Also, it's nice and thin, so it doesn't seem overwhelming to me. So let me tell you what it's about. At times stern, at other times patient, at times perceptive, at other times in sad denial, Olive Kitteridge, a retired schoolteacher, deplores the changes in her little town of Crosby, Maine, and in the world at large. But she doesn't always recognize the changes in those around her. A lounge musician haunted by a past romance, a former student who has lost the will to live, Olive's own adult child who feels tyrannized by her irrational sensitivities, and her husband Henry, who finds his loyalty to his marriage both a blessing and a curse. As the townspeople grapple with their problems, mild and dire, Olive is brought to a deeper understanding of herself and her life, sometimes painfully, but always with ruthless honesty. Olive Kitteridge offers profound insights into the human condition, its conflicts, its tragedies and joys, and the endurance it requires. So, what I thought was interesting about this is I think it's a good reminder of how we tend to be so consumed with what we have going on in our lives, whether it's something, you know, we're worried about, or something we're working at, or something we're even excited about. And we're so consumed with that we are not seeing or noticing what's going on in the people around us. And I think it will just be one of those types of books that when you read it, it helps open your eyes to that, to be more, even to be looking, you know, actually like trying to pay good attention to the people around you, to notice if someone's struggling or if there's something that they're excited about, and to be able to celebrate it with them. And so I just think it sounded like an interesting kind of book to read. So we're going to check it out. Now this one's more, you know, up my usual alley, if you will. It's called Enigma, a novel, and it's by Catherine Coulter. It says, a distraught mother, Kara Moody's perfect pregnancy turns into a nightmare when her newborn son is nowhere to be found in her Georgetown hospital. FBI agents Savage and Sherlock think they're investigating an abduction, but soon discover their case is tangled in a web of medical mystery that could make immortality possible. An Irish killer. Liam Hennessy, notorious thief and one of the FBI's most wanted, has escaped into the deep woods of the Appalachians, and when he wants to be hidden, few can find the manta ray. Special agents Jack Cabot and Cam Whittier are sent to find him, but they find something else entirely. An FBI team running out of time. As each agent tirelessly pursues their prey, the clock is ticking. The odds grow even slimmer ever slimmer, odds grow ever slimmer that Kara Moody will ever see her baby again. Savage and his team will have to go way beyond the ordinary if they are to solve the cases of a lifetime. So this is an FBI thriller, and I definitely tend to like those. And it's a big one. It's a big one. But it sounded really good. And she's a New York Times bestselling author, so that gives me hope. And yeah, I thought it seemed interesting. So that's actually why I pick up books, because they seem interesting. I don't pick up something because it doesn't. That doesn't even make any sense. But we'll see what it's like. Now this one, I'll be completely honest, it was the cover that drew me to it. I'm definitely drawn to covers. And it's just the floral on it and the colors. And it's like her name looks like it's an embroidery. And then the picture of this like little country house out in the prairie somewhere, you know, in the plains. And it just, I don't know. It was something that I was like, that looks interesting. What's this about? So it's Sandra Dallas is the author, and it's called The Diary of Maddie Spencer. No one is more surprised than Maddie Spencer herself when Luke Spencer, considered the great catch of their small Iowa town, asked her to marry him. Less than a month later, they are off in a covered wagon to build a home on the Colorado frontier. Maddie's only company is a slightly mysterious husband in her private journal, where she records the joys and frustrations, not just of frontier life, but also of a new marriage to a handsome but distant stranger. As she and Luke make a life together on the harsh and beautiful plains, Maddie learns some bitter truths about her husband and the girl he left behind, and finds love where she least expects it. Dramatic and suspenseful, this is an unforgettable story of hardship, friendship, and survival. And so something that drew me in about this is it's written in a style like her journal entries, and I tend to like that when a book does that. If it's talking about somebody who like is, you know, journaling something, I like when they actually show like their journal entries. So I think that's going to be really interesting. Again, it's short. So since this is like a historical fiction, and that is not something I typically go for either, I feel like having some of these shorter books for these genres that are not my normal go-tos is a smart way for me to do it, because I feel like it won't be overwhelming then. And it helps me just kind of, you know, just start into these kind of books instead of something that's like a, you know, huge book that's just going to seem daunting. And since it's not a, you know, typical style of writing that I go for, I just feel like having a little smaller book is a smart idea for me. So I really am excited to read this. I think it's cool about it being like, you know, in covered wagons, and just to go back to like that time where things were simpler, but also a lot harder in some ways. And so I think it's just going to be a very interesting book to read, and I'm excited. Now this one is by an author who I have not read yet, but one of her books is on my April TBR. I picked it from my jar, and I got that one from my friend Heather, who she sent me an amazing like book package. She's an author. I will link it up here if you've not seen that yet. Oh my gosh, it's so awesome. You have to go watch it. And also in that video, she gave me a bookish junk journal that she made, and they are available on Amazon, and I have them in the description box of that video, but I will also put them in the description box of this one if it's something you're interested in checking into, because it is such a cool like book journal. It's so awesome. So definitely check that out if that's something you're interested in. But so the author that I'm talking about right here, she sent me one of those books. So that's the one that's on my April TBR. Then I bought one from Book Outlet, and now I just found this one in Salvation Army. So it is Lisa Jewell, and this is The Family Upstairs. Soon after her birthday, Libby Jones returns home from work to find the letter she has been waiting for 25 years. She rips it open with one driving thought: I am finally going to know who I am. She learns not only the identity of her birth parents, but also that she is the sole inheritor of their abandoned mansion on the banks of the Thames. So, like, this is such a common, you know, thing in a lot of like thriller, suspense kind of books, where somebody dies and someone inherits this mansion or manor or whatever, and some crazy stuff goes down. I don't care how many times I read a book like that. I love it. Like, I will always go for that. So I'm excited about that. Everything in Libby's life is about to change, but what she can't possibly know is that others have been waiting for this day as well, and she is on a collision course to meet them. In The Family Upstairs, the master of bone-chilling suspense brings us the can't-look-away story of 3 entangled families living in a house with the darkest of secrets. So, yeah, so excited to be able to add another At Least a Jewel book to my collection. So, we'll see how this one goes. And I love this. There's something about this cover that I really like, too. Yeah. Now, this one is probably the one I got the most excited about when I saw it, because I literally had it in my cart on Book Outlet, and I kept almost buying it, but then there were some other books that I thought I might want a little more, that were more in the genre that genres that I typically go for, and so I didn't end up getting it, but really wanted it. So when I walked in and I saw this book, I was so excited. It is The Girl from the Savoy. So this is a historical fiction. And like I said, that's not typically something I go for. And this one is not little. Like, this is a bigger book. But when I read the description of this on Book Outlet, I was like, ooh, that sounds good. So let me tell you about it. London, 1923. Welcome to the Savoy Hotel, a glittering jewel in London's social scene, where the lives of the rich, the famous, and the infamous intertwine. Here, amid the cocktails and the jazz, 2 women with very different pasts try to forget the devastation of the Great War and forge a new life in a city where those who dare to dream can have it all. Dolly Lane is the Savoy's newest chambermaid, her prospects limited by a life in service, but her proximity to the dazzling hotel guests fuels her dreams to take the London stage by storm, to wear couture gowns, to be applauded by gallery girls and admired by critics, to be a star, just like her idol, Loretta May. The daughter of an earl, Loretta has rebelliously turned her back on the carefully ordered life expected of a woman at the top of society's elite. She will love who she wants and live as she likes. Outwardly, her star burns bright, but Loretta holds a dark secret. She alone knows that her star cannot burn forever. When an unusual turn of events leads Dolly's and Loretta's lives to collide, they must both learn to let go of their past in order to hold on to what they most desire. This sounds so good to me. Just the time period, the 20s, and picturing this fancy hotel, the Savoy, and there's all these glamorous people, just the way they dressed back then and stuff, like, I'm just so, like, mesmerized by. And to picture this girl who, you know, works in service, and that's kind of been her whole life, but she has these big dreams, and she sees these people who come and stay at this fancy place that she works at, but she, you know, has these dreams of being those people, and then to get to meet this person that she's always looked up to, and then just what's going to happen there. I don't know. It just sounded very intriguing to me. And again, look at this cover. This cover totally got me. And I think it was like $8 something on Book Outlet, which is still a very good price, but 99 cents? Heck yeah, I'll take 99 cents. And then the very last book is the most different for me as far as genres, and it's because it's fantasy. And I don't really read fantasy. The most fantasy that I've read is Harry Potter and, like, the Chronicles of Narnia. Those would be, like, the most fantasy-like books. So this is going to be something different for me. But I saw the cover. Again, I'm sucked in by covers. And the title. And then I read what it was about, and I was like, you know what? This might be a good one for me to try out. So it's called Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Rash. And it says, a lightning-fast tale of loyalty, love, and finding one's destiny. 16 years ago, the Kingdom of Winter was conquered and its citizens enslaved, leaving them without magic or a monarch. Now the Winterians' only hope for freedom is the 8 survivors who managed to escape and who have been searching for the chance to steal back Winter's magic and rebuild the kingdom ever since. Orphaned as an infant during Winter's defeat, Mira has lived her whole life as a refugee, training to be a warrior and desperately in love with her best friend and future king, Mather. She would do anything to help Winter rise to power again. So when scouts discover the location of the ancient locket that can restore their magic, Mira decides to go after it, only to find herself thrust into a world of evil magic and dangerous politics, and to realize that her destiny is not, never has been, her own. And it just, I don't know. I love snow, so I'm picturing, you know, winter. It's going to have, like, that vibe. And it just, I don't know, it sounded good to me. And it's not little, but it's not a huge one either. So if you have read this before, let me know what you think of it. No spoilers. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you think of this book if you've read it before, and if you think it's a good one for me to try out for, you know, dipping my toe into fantasy. So That is 6 books, 99 cents each. This particular thrift store, all of their books, whether they are paperback or hardcover, are 99 cents. And I think that's awesome because I actually prefer paperbacks. But if you're somebody who prefers hardcover, you know that they, well, even if you don't prefer them, you know they're more expensive typically. But when they're both 99 cents, I think that's awesome. And yeah, what a great way to be able to try different genres and stuff like that. So 6 books, $6. I am down for that. So I can't wait to hear what of these books do you think sounds the most interesting. These will be added to my TBR jar in a little bit. I'm going to be working through what I've kind of got in there first. I'd kind of like to clear out and go through some of the things that are already there before I start adding more. But I am definitely excited to have these in my collection and be able to add them to eventually read. So can't wait to hear what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye.